Out of 40, the Russian women have come close on a couple of occasions.
There's certainly been teams who've missed one in the past. I can't think of an absolute clear from all athletes. That's exceptionally good shooting. But will Labe Lund, he's got a 40-second cushion. Can he hold the pressure out front? A brand new experience for him. It changes things when you haven't been there before.
I guess the question is, how much time does Labe Lund need over FOURCADE at the start of the final loop?
That's a good one. I would say he needs, as a safety blanket, what?
20 seconds.
20 seconds?
20 seconds should be safe. 15 will make it tight. 10, I think Norway could be in trouble.
Although Labe Lund, he's been watching these relays with Bjorndalen in them since the age of 5, since he can remember. And to race for Norway in a relay at a World Cup, it brings something special to your performance. He knows he can't let them down. So Labe Lund is pushing himself way higher than we saw in the individual races here, the sprint, the pursuit.
1:38 behind for VITEK of the Czech Republic. Landertinger just a few seconds behind him, and both these teams know that should the pressure get to the leading three, they have a chance of taking a top 3 result here, and that would be good for either of those teams. It's nice to see Austria recovering, Mike, but what a shame about that penalty loop on the first leg from Dani MESOTITSCH. Disappointment for Germany. They'll be racing for pride at the moment, and Pfeiffer will want a very good shoot in the stand position if he wants to avoid some bad press tomorrow morning.
Yeah, very much. The best improved teams, the Czech Republic, were ranked 10th at the end of last season. They're performing really well today, and also Slovakia ranked 14th and up into, what, 7th position at the moment.
Labe Lund, again, skiing like Christiansen, smooth and relaxed and efficient, and that's been his key so far today. Remember his margin, some 40 seconds. It will probably be down to around 35 by the time FOURCADE enters the stadium. Again, Mike, if he can get 3 or 4 shots down before FOURCADE appears.
Then he says, I love the way he's approaching the range. He's not doing anything different. You don't feel tension in his face or his body. He's trying to keep it so normal. Just getting his feet nice and comfortable. And again, watch the lower stomach. He's gasping for air.
That will settle a few Norwegian nerves. Smack in the 9 ring. Very good shooting indeed. 1 more to go for Labe Lund, and victory is assured. They've taken 41 rounds to clear 40 targets. That is the best performance we've seen, certainly for the last 5 years. I think it may be the best performance we've seen in the last 10 years as far as the men are concerned. And it gives Martin FOURCADE of France no chance whatsoever. He is now fighting for second. MALYSHKO for Russia. Last year's overall champion FOURCADE for France. Well, no contest. No contest. MALYSHKO now has to defend 3rd position, and that change of psychology halfway through a shoot, Mike, must be quite difficult to cope with.
Oh, it is, and look at MALYSHKO. He's had to try, and he realizes he probably wouldn't stay with FOURCADE on the track, so he shot fast, but it hasn't worked.
Now, if he misses 1 more, we're going to be looking at the Czech Republic and Austria to challenge for a podium. But he's cleared it eventually as the 2 chasers come into the range. And so no medals at stake, you feel. Just a little bit of pride. No Simonada racing for Austria, Mike. Always an exciting performer.
He really is. He's been shooting so well, Ada, but not skiing fast. They put the older veterans in.
That's how to do it. They needed more of that earlier on in the race. An excellent performance to wrap it up for Dominik Landertinger of Austria.
VITEK just needs to keep it relaxed, snatch the final shot.
Can Pfeiffer make up for his mistakes in the pro?
Good job from VITEK.
Could have a ski race on our hands if Pfeiffer gets these 2 at the first time of asking. He does. That's much, much better. What was going on in the prone position with Arndt Pfeiffer? Remember, the two targets, very different sizes. And so if the sights are slightly off, you're more likely to make mistakes in the prone than you are in the stand.
Well, that's right, it's a big hit target. Well, in relation to the golf ball size prone, you're sighting the same target, they just set it differently for prone and stand. Only 11.5 centimetres, it's not huge, like I suppose just bigger than a large orange. Tightening up. Zdenek, he normally shoots so well. He got them this time, 2 spare rounds though.
Ukraine, Italy and Sweden will be skiing for a top 10 position. They'll probably not relish the fact that they're all side by side at the start of the last lap. Labi Lund will be enjoying the fact that he is 30 seconds clear. So FOURCADE's got closed the gap some 10 seconds in the last 2.5 Ks, but 32 seconds surely is too much. We'll find out when they come through the last of our split times. Here he comes. And if he still has 20 seconds at this point of the race, he's got to be safe.
I think he's done an amazing job, Labi Lund, brought in at last moment really for the Norwegian team, and to cope with that pressure and to get 10 out of 10. So accurate as well in the stand, very central in the hit point. It's just outside the prone target, you can see the shape in the middle.
A good day for Gruben. Does he look tired or what?
He'll be disappointed. He just wants victories. Well, it was 40.
Yeah, he's given up the chase. He got it down to 32 at one stage, but Martin Fourcade, I think, deciding just to ease up on his way through. Here come Russia. And Russia leaving the range. There's still 30 seconds between themselves and Austria, so it's a little bit of a procession. Nothing like the drama we had yesterday in both pursuit races. Absolutely brilliant. I think those are the best races we've seen for a while. Although, having said that, last year Hochfilzen produced similar finishes in the pursuits, and that is why the pursuit is now the #1 race. And the difference really, Mike, head-to-head certainly, but the difference between the pursuit and the mass start is that you have 60 in the race rather than just 30.
That's right, and of course the first mass start's coming up in Pokljuka next weekend. Always, for me, the pursuits are great, but then you get the 30 best ranked at this moment, starting side by side. Then you've got a race. It's over 15 kilometres, so it's a tough one. It's extending it out to the big endurance racing.
Be interesting. I wonder what our viewers feel about the pursuit. Of course, if you win the sprint by a minute, you start the pursuit a minute ahead. Would there be a case for halving the difference between the finishing times at the start of the pursuit, just to level it up a little, so those who have a bad day in the sprint aren't completely out of the race the following day?
Well, when the pursuits were first introduced back in 1997, there were ideas. You know, it was perceived, if you, as you say, if you win by 1 minute, it's a massive advantage going into day 2. So they did play around with 30 seconds, but it didn't feel right. You weren't getting real time. I do remember, in fact, it was Nagano. I don't think we had the pursuit in the Olympic program at that stage, but Bjorndalen winning the sprint race by 1 minute and 2 seconds. One of the biggest ever victories in a sprint race.
And having done that, the day after the race was called off once he'd secured victory the previous day. It was an astonishing performance by Bjorndalen. He's still on good form, and he's part of the winning team today. So another little World Cup victory to his name. But I think credit going to the two youngsters, Birkeland and Christiansen. And of course, Labi Lund, brought in as a replacement for Emil Hegle Svensson.
Labi Lund, for me, looked relieved there. It went perfectly well for him, and he just didn't want to let this team down, and he didn't.
And all the celebrations tonight will be about the fact that they've shot so well as a team. No one let the Norwegian team down. How many times have we seen them do a penalty loop on the first leg and then play catch-up all the way through? A cruise to the finish for Martin Fourcade. Nothing he could really do. He was given a 42-second deficit to play with on the last leg. Jay, BEATRIX, BOEUF all did pretty well. Vincent Jay, his last ever race today. So congratulations to him on his career, and of course that gold medal from Vancouver in the sprint event. And merci Vincent, say the rest of the French team. Second place. I think that certainly they would have taken at the start of the day. Well, it's been a long and distinguished career for Vincent. Just a shame that he hasn't had a little more success in his last 2 seasons. 3rd place for Russia today. A very strong team, the strongest on paper by some margin. SHIPULIN, MAKOVEEV, USTYUGOV and MALYSHKO. But Russia requiring 9 spare rounds. That really the difference between themselves and Norway. Austria, well, that is some comeback, Mike. 17th to 4th. It all went wrong on the first leg, but great work from SUMANN, PINTER and finally LANDERTINGER producing the race of the day for the Austrian team. And 4th place, respectable.
Oh, very good, and so different the turnout, the outcome. Had MESOTITSCH not gone around a penalty loop, he lost a further 30 seconds using his 3 spare rounds. Could have been so different today for Austria.
The Czech Republic looked disappointed with 5th position, but they've taken the scalp of one of the biggest ever nations in biathlon, Germany. Good work from the Czech Republic. For Germany, really it went wrong on the penultimate shoot. That prone for Arndt Pfeiffer, putting him on the penalty loop, and then he was out of contention. Slovenia, they started well with Jakub Fak producing a very good first leg. Clement Bauer carried on the good work, and Dockel and Oblak just fading a little. So Slovakia 7th position, 2:26 behind. Italy in 8th. Now, that's not too bad for the Italians. Just looking to see how the Italians finished last year. They finished 12th, but of course they got a win in Oberhof, so maybe they'll save their best till after the Christmas period. One more round of the World Cup to go for the men and women before the Christmas break. Pachuca, of course, where we're headed next week, and then Oberhof, Ruhpolding and Tolz immediately after the new year. Well, just in time to pick up on the results here in Hochfilzen. The men's first relay of the season won convincingly by Norway. The world champions, the Olympic champions, are back on top, ahead of France, who was 2nd, or in fact won the World Cup last year. So a good victory for the Norwegians, and really the outstanding factor was their shooting. 1 spare round required. Well, we still have the women's relay to come, and that takes place this afternoon. We'll be on air at 14:45 European time, so 1:45 if you're watching in the UK. Difficult to call. Russia, I guess, are the favourites. Germany would hope to get a win here. Norway, with Tora Berger on form, might also win that one. But congratulations to the Norwegians. They take the win ahead of France and Russia.